Hello, welcome to my channel. I am CS Jasmine. Continuing with the first subject, that is business environment and law. Today in this video, I will be teaching the second chapter of business environment and law, that is forms of business organization. Starting with the second chapter, forms of business organization. Now, there are different forms of business organization which vary in sizes, benefits, advantages, and disadvantages. What kind of business you want, what kind of advantages you want, features, characteristics, every business type, every organization type comes up with its own features, with its own characteristics, with its own advantages and disadvantages. So the person has to choose accordingly. And why it is important to even understand the form. How would you know which business type, what kind of a business will help you flourish and reach the right customers? So for that purpose, it's very, very important to know and understand which form of business organization should you choose. Now, talking about the characteristics. These are the general characteristics of business organizations. Starting with the first one, distinct ownership. Ownership in itself, it means the right to acquire legal title to assets or properties for purpose of running business. Every business organization has distinct ownership with its own. It has the right that it can acquire the title of its assets and properties for the purpose of running business. So that is called distinct ownership. Second, lawful business. As the name suggests, the business should be lawful. It should not be unlawful, or it should not carry out illegal activities or should not do anything wrong. The business should be lawful. Then separate status and management. Now, if one organization or one entity is earning profit or it's suffering losses, it should not be accounted by another organization or another firm. So every organization, every entity has its separate status and separate management. It is not accountable on one another. They all are separate from each other. Next, dealing in goods and services. Why do we do business? To provide goods and services to the society, to provide goods and services to our customers. So that is what every business organization does. It deals in production or distribution of goods or services, and definitely it's an exchange of money. Then comes continuity of business operations. It is not just that you have done one thing and that is called business. Business means you have to do it repeatedly. You have to do it on a continuous basis. Every business organization has to run its operations on a continuous basis to become a business, to come into the business. So continuity of business operations is a very important characteristic of every business organization. And risk involvement. Doing any business brings up its own risks with it. So the business enterprise, it is definitely exposed to risk and uncertainty, which is influenced by future conditions. So these all are the characteristics. These are just the general characteristics of a business organization. Now, the characteristics of an ideal form of organization. How would you choose the form of organization for your business depends on the characteristics. Starting with the first one, ease of formation. Whichever type of organization you choose, it should be easy to form. How would it be easy to form? Like without any legal formalities and no time consumption. It's very, very important. Whichever organization you choose, it should be very easy to form it. The second is adequacy of capital. Now, a capital is needed everywhere. Whether you're starting a shop or you're starting a company, you need to raise funds. Whether you want from outsiders or from your own treasures, it's your own wish. Now, the preconditions for attracting capital are: first, safety of investment. Why would somebody invest in your business if it's not safe? If he feels that you'll not take up your business to another level or you can't flourish. Second, fair return on investment. If anybody is investing, everyone invests with a thought of getting it back in a fair way. So there should be fair return on investment. And third, transferability of holding. If someday someone feels that I don't want to keep it anymore, they should be easy to transfer it. So these all things are very important to consider when you think about an ideal form of organization. Adequacy of capital. No organization can run without capital, without adequate capital. Third is limit of liability. Now it depends from business to business. Some businesses have limited liabilities and some businesses have unlimited liabilities. So while choosing an ideal form of organization, one should keep in mind whether he's ready to give up his everything, his properties, his assets to his business for unlimited liability, or he just wants to give the things he has invested up in the business. So this is very important to understand the limit of liability for an ideal form of organization. Continuing with the characteristics, the next is direct relationship between ownership, control, and management. All these three things are directly related for the growth of a good business. For a good enterprise, all these three things are important. Owner controls everything happening and manages the work effectively in a business, then only a business can survive. Next is continuity and stability. As I have taught you in the previous slide also, that continuity for a business is very important. The operations should be taken up on continuous basis. The stability is very important for any business. The business has to be stable to convince its customers, to convince its shareholders that it will take up their money to another level. And next is flexibility of operations. The business world is changing every minute, every day, and your business to be next, flexibility of operations. The business should be capable of adjusting itself because the market is changing day by day. The business environment is changing every day. It should be able to adjust itself. Continuing with the characteristics, now these characteristics, that is distinct ownership, lawful business, separate status and management, dealing in goods and services, continuity of business operations, and risk involvement. I have explained all these in the previous slides. You can go back and refer it. There are different types of business organization, which are sole proprietorship, Hindu undivided family business, partnership, company, private company, public company. Further, one-person company, statutory bodies and corporation, cooperative societies and trusts, limited liability partnership, association of persons, body of individuals, and joint ventures. So these are the different forms of business organization from which a businessman has to choose what type of business he wants to do. Starting with the first form of business organization, that is sole proprietorship. Now, as the name suggests, sole means single, means one, and proprietorship means ownership. So, sole proprietorship means when the ownership of a business organization is in one person's hands, one person is responsible for the ownership, for the management and control of a business, then it's called a sole proprietorship. For example, you could take up the example of shops. Shops are under sole proprietorships, the small shops where only one person is there for the ownership. He is the one who would exclusively own the business, manage the business, and control the business. So, along with all these things comes all the authority, responsibility, and risk on that one person only. So, this is what sole proprietorship means when the business organization is taken up by one person, that is the sole proprietorship. Starting with the characteristics of sole proprietorship, the first characteristic is single ownership. As I've told you earlier also, a single individual owns this form of business organization. He owns all the assets and all the properties and owns all the risks. So everything depends on him only. He is the single person owning the business, owning the assets, owning the properties, along with that owning all the risks. The next characteristic is no sharing of profit and loss. When definitely the owner is one, there is nobody else to share the profit or loss. He is the one who would take up all the profit if he gains it or loses everything. So he is responsible, or he is the one, he is someone who will not share anything with anyone. Third, one man's capital. In this kind of business organization, the person has to invest on his own. Whether he will invest his personal resources, or if he does not have the resources, he will borrow from his friends, relatives, banks, or other financial institutions. But whatever he is investing, it's from his own pocket, from its own capital. Then comes one man control. That means in sole proprietorship, if one person is the owner, he is the one to control all the decision, to take all the decision by his own, and there is no confusion by consulting any other person or by referring anyone else. So he's the only one to control all the decisions of the business. Then comes unlimited liability. Now the liability in this case is unlimited. That means in case of any loss, the personal properties will also be used to repay business liabilities, as he's the only one to invest in the business. At the time of losses, he lost everything, all the personal properties as well, and less legal formalities. This is something very beneficial in case of sole proprietorship, that the legal formalities are very less. In some businesses, in very rare businesses, it requires seal or licenses, but most of them does not require much of legal formalities. Then comes the advantages of sole proprietorship. Starting with the first advantage, easy to form and wind up. It is the kind of business organization which is very easy to form and very easy to wind up, as there are no legal formalities, and it's completely on the sole discretion of the businessman, of the sole proprietor, to form or wind up the business at any time. It's very easy. Whenever he finds to run the business, he can form the business, or whenever he decides that now he doesn't want to run the business, he can just wind up the business. Next is direct motivation, as whatever is happening in the business, whatever profits the business is earning or whatever losses the business is incurring, everything goes to the sole proprietor only. In this case, of sole proprietorship, there is direct link between effort and reward. So the person investing his time, investing his money, is directly motivated in this case. Next is quick decision and prompt action. The sole proprietor need not ask anybody, need not consult anybody. He's alone there to take up the risk, to take up the responsibilities for all the decisions. So he can take quick decision and prompt action at the time when it is needed. Then better control. Now, he is the only person who's planning everything, who's organizing everything, who's taking up all the decisions, ready to take up the risks happening around. So he has a better control over business. As many people are there in a business organization, there is a scope of confusion, there is a scope of making wrong decisions. So when a person is alone, who's going to face everything alone, he has a better control over his business organization. Now, the next advantage is maintenance of business secrets. Business secrecy is an important factor for any business. It's very important to keep your plans, to keep your strategies to yourself, so it does not leak to the competitors to face any further problems. In case of sole proprietorship, a person is keeping everything to himself, as he's the one planning, he's the one managing everything, so there is no scope of leakage of business secrets. Next, close personal relation. It's always in a position to maintain good personal contact with the customers and employees, as he's dealing everything in himself. He's doing everything by himself. There's no other person involved. There's no other person coming up. He's the one doing everything. So it leads to making him closer personal relationships with customers, with employees, and other persons involved in his business. The next is flexibility in operations. Now, it's free to change the nature and scope of business operations, and it can expand or curtail his business, because he is the one who's taking the decision. Again and again, I'm saying the same thing. He is the individual doing the same. He's the individual managing everything, controlling everything. So it automatically brings the flexibility in operations, that he can change the nature, he can change the scope of business operations. And the last, and I think the most important thing, that it encourages self-employment. At the times when there are no jobs, or where people cannot find jobs, they can make one for themselves. So it helps in reducing the poverty and unemployment in the country, as if somebody takes the initiative to work for themselves, for self-employment. So these are the advantages of the form of organization that is called sole proprietorship. Now, what are the disadvantages of this form of organization? Starting with the first one, limited capital. The owner arranges the required capital of the business, and sometimes it's difficult to raise a huge capital. Now, one person cannot have unlimited funds. The funds are always limited to one person. Even the borrowing power of that person is limited to a point. A person cannot borrow a lot of money, or he cannot arrange a lot of money. So at that point of time, the capital gets short when you talk about the business. Second is unlimited liability. The sole proprietor fails to pay the business obligation, which restricts him from taking risks. Now, at the time of losses, it is something that the sole proprietor will have to pay it off by even selling his personal property. This is the biggest disadvantage. He will have to sell his house, even his furniture and everything, to pay off his business obligation. So this is a very, very big disadvantage of this form of business organization. Then lack of continuity. Now in case he gets ill or death or insolvency of the owner, it just brings an end to the business as it is linked with the life of the businessman. His life is directly linked with the life of the business. So lack of continuity is there at the times of health problems of the businessman. Then limited size. There is a limit beyond which it becomes difficult to expand its business. It cannot expand it to another level or give it another level because single person, single businessman cannot handle everything. Then lack of managerial expertise. One person cannot be expert of every aspect, and so this type of business, it lacks professional management. He can be expert in one kind of profession. He even can be a professional, but just one professional. He cannot be an expert of every aspect or everything. So from that point of time, this kind of a business organization, it always lacks a proper and a good managerial expertise. Now we will discuss the most important thing of sole proprietorship, that is the suitability of sole proprietorship. If these given points are there in your business, then only the person should decide to start a sole proprietorship. Starting with the first one, where the market of the product is small and local, then only one person can manage the market. When the market of the product is small, local, examples are like selling vegetables, books and stationeries, where one person can handle everything, take the decision and do everything. The next is where customer needs personal attention according to their personal tastes and preferences, where a person needs personal attention by the person doing business. The things are customized according to their tastes, according to their preferences. At that point of time, we need a sole person doing everything, taking decisions, making things that are customized according to the customers. The most appropriate example is designing garments. The garments are designed, they are customized according to the preferences and tastes of the customer. And for that, a sole proprietor is the best thing. Or the next is making special type of furniture. Third, where the business nature of business is simple. Now, a sole proprietor will definitely not enter into something that is complicated, uh, something that needs special expertise. So it is actually successful where the nature of business is simple, like grocery, garment business, telephone booth. Next, where capital requirement is small and risk involvement is not heavy. Yes, because one person cannot contribute, cannot give a lots and lots of capital. The requirement of capital should be small, and definitely one person cannot take up lot of risk also. So the risk involvement should not be that heavy. For that, examples are vegetables and fruits business, tea stalls. And the last one, where manual skill is required. Sole proprietorship is extremely successful where manual skill is required, like making jewelry, hair cutting or tailoring, where one person can take up the job and do his job correctly according to his skills, according to his talents, whatever he has learned or whatever he knows. So these all points, where all these points are satisfied, definitely the person should choose up the form of organization which is called the sole proprietorship. Thank you for watching my video. Please don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe.